Good afternoon, riding trip fans. It's Stacy, and I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes with you this afternoon talking about three different points to consider when you are planning, researching, or looking into a riding vacation. So I'm going to dive right in just to be mindful of your time. The first thing I would say to you is beware of what I call internet pitfalls. So the internet is great, right? Like you guys have seen our website. You can see the pictures of the rides, the videos, you can see the testimonials, and everything on the website looks really pretty and it looks really all put together and wonderful. And you know what? It should. I mean, that's why we want to have it that way so that if you are looking at a new trip, you can get an idea of whether or not it's something that's of interest to you. But the flip side of that is that there are other companies out there that are able to put together pretty pictures and create something that looks like a great trip, only to find out that they haven't been there, they don't know it, and you get there and find out that, oh wow, that's not really what I thought it was going to be like. I mean, it's a bit like when if you've ever purchased a house, when you get your MLS listing and you're like, oh, that house is so cute. And you pull up and you're like, wow, it needs new siding and a new roof. Wow. I mean, hey, look, stuff happens. The nice thing about buying a house is you haven't already bought the house at that point. So when you pull up on a riding trip that you've forked over money for, not to mention your time, which is way more important, and it's not what it looked like in the picture, I don't know. In my opinion, that is totally not okay. So you need to find some way to evaluate the information you find on the website and discover whether or not the information is current, accurate, and is going to provide you with the experience that you're hoping to have on your really fantastic vacation. The second piece I would say is beware of knockoffs. So there's now, I mean, there didn't used to, in the old days, there were three companies, us and two other companies that did what we do, which is offer riding vacations. Now there's probably a dozen companies out there that have umbrellas and they sell riding trips all over the place. The thing is that, again, you need to know who you're talking to, and you need to have confidence that who you're talking to about these trips are people that know the trips, that understand riders, and that are giving you the information that is most useful to create a truly spectacular week of vacation. I came across a company the other day, earlier this week, and I hadn't heard of them. And so I went to their website just to see what they were doing, and they have trips all over the place, and they say they work with over 250 different vendors to offer riding vacations. And I was like, holy smokes, 250 vendors, that's a lot, but there are a lot of folks out there. So I was kind of poking around looking at their trips, and I noticed that they have a blog. So I thought, oh, let me see what they write about in their blog. Well, their top blog post was titled, "What's the difference between English and Western riding?" What? You're a rider or a company that markets to riders, riding vacations, and you have people coming to your site that don't know the difference between English and Western riding? So I don't mean to look down my nose, and I apologize if anyone watching this video at some point in the future has a question about that. But my point in that is that the majority of the people that come to us for trips are truly riders. They have experience with horses, they own their own horse, lease a horse, they have taken riding trips before. They come to us to take a trip where they can actually ride, where it's not nose to tail. And the danger that is a possibility when you come to a company like the one I was just mentioning is that if they're taking reservations from people who truly don't understand the difference between English and Western riding, then you very well may end up on a trip with someone who doesn't know the difference. which generally translates into the fact that they don't really ride so much. And the way that that trickles down, just to spell it all out, is if they don't really ride so much, then the entire group is gonna be riding to that person's ability. That's totally not okay in our world and my world. And since I make the rules here, that's totally not okay. That's why we do such our due diligence when we look at the rides, when we talk to people on the phone. That's why we make such an effort to get to know you in person, either directly when we are at a trade show or at an event locally, or, when we are on the phone or on social media. It's our job to give you the best vacation possible and to make sure that you're choosing the one that is the best for you. So that's why we might say to you, that trip you're asking about, that's really not a good fit for you. It's probably not long enough days in the saddle, or it's probably too long a days in the saddle, depending on what your goals are. But here's another one that's similar that would be a better fit and give you a much more valuable experience based on what your goals are for your trip. Which really leads me to the third point, which is that you really want to work with someone that you trust. You want to work with someone that you feel like you have a personal relationship with, whether it is directly or whether it is virtual, as many of us have right now. But you need to be able to know that if you have questions, if you have problems, if you need anything, you can pick up the phone and call that person. Many of you that have worked with me know that you can call me pretty much any time. If I'm available in the middle of the night to answer the phone, I will. If you send me a text message, and anyone who's worked with me has my work cell phone number, I will respond back to you. And that is important to me because when you're taking a trip, things happen. When you're making decisions about which trip to take, you need to know what you're getting into, and that, what I'm telling you is actually what's going to be the case. So, at the end of the day, you can do, of course, whatever you like. But I guess the bottom line is, with these three different points, to beware of those internet pitfalls, that something is not just a pretty picture, that it actually is truly what it is, or that you're not buying from some sort of upstart knockoff company that looks like it's got a lot of traction, in terms of social media followers, but actually doesn't really cater to riders themselves or deals with people who aren't really riders. That at the end of the day, whoever you work with, you need to be able to know that you can reach them, that they are trustworthy, and that they're not steering you down, a path of destruction, that they're giving you the information you need to plan what will become a truly memorable, fantastic vacation. Those are my 3 tips for you today on what to do when planning and looking at a riding vacation. But if you have other tips that you think are important, or if you have other points that you would like to share, I would love to hear those. These were just a few to get you started, but I will look forward to connecting with you in any of the comments below, or by messenger, or by text message, or by email, or by phone. And thank you very much for your continued trust and faith in Active Riding Trips. It does mean a lot to me personally, as it does to the rest of the team. But we look forward to working with you, and also to taking any referrals that you offer us, and helping them experience the things that you have. So that's way more time than I intended to take today. My apologies on that. Wishing you all an early, happy weekend. And be sure to post any other tips for planning and preparing for trips that might be helpful. We would love to hear them. Thanks a lot. This is Stacy wishing you again a happy early weekend.